Hello everyone, it's Nastya, and today I want to discuss with you the topic why it may not work with Russian and Ukrainian men. So, are Ukrainian men bad husbands, or is it always successful for Ukrainian women to get married or to date with Ukrainian men, or is an average Ukrainian woman satisfied with a Ukrainian husband, or she would rather marry a foreign man, and why? I must start with the information that in Europe divorces can be provoked because of a stable economic situation, when every member of a couple in the family, for example, feels to be independent and autonomous, and he or she doesn't need an economic support. So it's like that in Europe, but in Ukraine and in Russia it is a very different situation. For example, it cannot work with the Ukrainian or Russian men because firstly, it is very widespread to practice a civil marriage, after in which we, for example, try to comprehend if we can live together forever with this person, if it works or not, and after these civil marriages, very often this is a situation when the person understands that there are too many problems, and I will discuss which ones, that after which we cannot be together forever. And firstly, I can say that men in Ukraine and in Russia are really spoiled by the number of beautiful girls, and that's why they always have choice. For example, they want more fun, they do not want to sacrifice themselves for stability with one woman when they have this choice. That's why this is the first problem. The second problem is that men are very often not able to provide the minimum economic security of the future family. It is difficult, and morally and physically, because couples cannot overcome these difficulties. They have problems with housing. At this moment we have the third problem, that they should live with relatives who interfere in their private life, and as a result they do not find a common language with relatives, and that's why they separate. So these economic problems are very widespread, and you see that many problems are due to this global problem. The fourth reason is that the number of single men is lower than the number of single women. So here we see that Ukrainian women should find their love to create the family abroad, because they have, for example, no choice, not in quality but in quantity in their country. So divorces in Ukraine and Russia are very often provoked by betrayal or estrangement, and estrangement is not physical but psychological. For example, when the men do not pay attention to the femininity of women, do not appreciate her as a woman, as it was, for example, during the first days of their dating or their life and family. So this estrangement is very difficult psychologically for Ukrainian women, because as I discussed in my previous video, Ukrainian women want to be loved, to be beautiful, to be appreciated, and when there is a situation when man doesn't appreciate her, it is very difficult psychologically to live together. And then there is a problem of alcoholism, because the problem of abusing drugs is not so widespread in Ukraine and Russia, but alcoholism can provoke, and this absence of money, and this absence of attention, so in this case we see that there is a really great problem, and because of alcoholism many families can be separated, and there is a big problem in Ukraine and Russia. There is a new kind of dependence, not on drugs, not on alcohol, but on computer games. Men very often do not pay attention to their family, children and wives, because they play all the time, and they do not want to earn money, etc. So they don't want to travel, they don't want to visit relatives, they don't want to spend time together, and this is really a great obstacle to the family life. The next psychological problem is different perceptions about how to raise children, how to share homework in the family, how to help one another. So these psychological problems influence very often the life in couple or in family. The next one is moral violence and physical violence. So moral violence is not always the absence of attention, but also some rude words, etc., which are used in the family or in the couple. Physical violence, you understand what is it, and it is also present in Ukrainian and Russian families and couples. Also, this is the difference of characters, the obstinacy, absence of compromises. So when the man cannot make compromise with a woman and vice versa. So this is always present in some couples, but some of them can overcome these obstacles and some of them unfortunately not. And also there is a very interesting situation, and I want to discuss it more detailed in my next videos, but it's a woman's refusal for sex, and it can be the reason can be firstly it can be too soon for a woman, for example, and a man don't understand why, because Ukrainian and Russian women they want, for example, to think first, to verify their relationships, and then they would proceed with other things. And the second reason, it's when women and men they live together for a long time. In this case, the refusal is because of all these reasons that I've cited before, because women understand that she is not appreciated, her husband cannot earn money, they don't travel, she doesn't feel her as a human being and as a woman with her femininity. She cannot, for example, spend time with her relatives or with her friends because because her husband always plays games all alone, etc. So she understands that it is not comfortable for her to have some sex relationships with this man who doesn't appreciate her. And also the last but not the least reason, it's early marriages due to pregnancy, which are more widespread in Russia and Ukraine than in Europe, because in Ukraine we have age marriage, for example, 22-23 years, and in Europe it's 27-30 years. So we can see that probably we are not ready physically, morally, economically, etc., to live together and to raise children, but due to pregnancy it's like that, and I can say that it's also a problem. So for today that's all. I thank you for your attention, and next time we will discuss the question of languages which are spoken in Ukraine. It's Russian and Ukrainian, the difference between them, etc. So subscribe to my channel not to miss some interesting information and important videos. Also, you can send me your questions on my Facebook profile and on my email address. So I thank you for your attention and see you soon.